Hello, so this video is going to go over some things that you can do in Canvas that are pretty user-friendly, I think, but I'm going to walk you through them in case you've never used Canvas before. So some of these things are kind of basic, like syllabus, we all know what that means. Announcements are pretty self-explanatory. I do want to point out modules to you. Students like modules and they like it when you organize modules. Most students that I've noticed like it if you organize modules by project, like I do in this example, or in the case of maybe suddenly going online because of a pandemic, we can do it by week. So here I've set up this homepage for my students. Just to give an example, I make a PowerPoint for class every day. And if they wanted to view it, let's say they missed a day of class because they were sick, they could click on this link right here and it takes them to their class agendas module, and they would just see the date that they were gone and then click on that. So that's a brief explanation of modules. And if you want to create a new module, you can see here it says add module. The red button in Canvas is really useful. That's how you create things in Canvas. So you would just create a new module. So let's say I want to title this week, I don't know what week it is, but week 12, let's just say. And you would select add module. I'm going to cancel out of that because I don't need to do that. And then we have assignments. So I organize assignments for this class by project just because I have a lot of writing assignments. And so I want to make it as user-friendly for them as possible. So I do create groups. You can see that I created groups here. You can just put the group name. So for example, I made one group, project 1, corporate communications. If I want to make a new assignment, I click again the red Canvas button. And that will give me an assignment. It's a blank thing. So you would put in, outside writing assignment. So whatever you want to call the assignment here. In this box is really important. This is where you put the assignment description. I always post assignment descriptions here because some students only will use the Canvas app, for example. And so even if I have like a Google Doc or a Word doc, sometimes their phones will not open that for them. It really depends. So I just put everything into that Canvas box or that assignment box in here. And I'll usually write it up like as a Google Doc or a Word document and just copy paste. There are fancier things here you can do here, but I'm not going to go over that with you right now. We're just going to keep things simple. So point values are here, how many points you want, but you can also use percentages. So you see this display grade as percentage and complete and stuff like that. You can choose that. I do points because I suck in math. The assignment group is there if you want to group them. What's really important here is submission type. Since students will be submitting work online and they may even be doing it through phones, I would choose website URL. I would also even make text entry available to them. If you have text entry, that means that they can actually type something into a box like this. So that will help you with any kind of writing that you're asking students to do that you don't want other students to see, for example. You just want to see yourself as the instructor. Sometimes I have students do like video essays, things like that, then media recordings I would select. I would keep website URL selected in those cases. File uploads, I always select that. Students may have access to something that they can upload. So I'm going to deselect those since I'm not actually doing this. And then of course assign to. I always do this course, so it's connected to that. You can do due dates, so choose whatever date you want to do, time. This until and available, so if you want students to only see it from certain date to another certain date, you can select that there. If you want to cut off submissions from students at a certain date, you can select that there. Make sure to save and publish when you're done. And I'm just going to cancel out because I don't need to create a new assignment right now. Well, I shouldn't say last. We can probably do some other things maybe, but here's quizzes. I really like quizzes in Canvas just because they're usually automatically graded. So to make a new quiz, or you can set it up that way, I should be clear. You can set it up that way. You can also create like essay questions or paragraph or short answer that you actually have to go into SpeedGrader and read and moderate. And you can even give feedback on them. But to create a new quiz, you select the Add Quiz button. And so you'll see something like this. You can name your quiz whatever you want, so week 12 quiz or whatever you want to do there. This is not where you put questions. This is just where you might describe your quiz. Like, for example, in general literature, I will just share what stories they're being quizzed on in this section, just as a general list. I always select graded quiz, but you could do a survey. Like, for example, if you just wanted to see what kind of technology students have available right now, do an ungraded survey, and they can just share that. Or you could make it graded, and if they do it, they get some points. And then there's shuffle answers. That just means like as different students take the quiz, the answers will be shuffled. Time limit, you can set that. I don't usually mess with those things, but that's there. I don't usually allow multiple attempts, but if you write really hard questions, unlike me, you can select students to like retake the quiz if they want. I do usually keep these things selected just because I think they make sense for what I do, but if you do not feel they make sense, of course you can deselect them. I don't ever require this from students, but you can do that. And then the same here as for assignments. If you're worried about things like cheating, there are things like Lockdown Browser that you can use, and you can force students to use a webcam. I would not do these unless you knew students had access to these. But they are in there, and I would be happy to help you through that if you needed to, but I'm not, again, I'm keeping this very basic for you. So people is just where you see who's in your class, grades, that always shows for you. Collaborations, I actually haven't used much, but if you click on collaborations here, it'll tell you more. And from what I understand about it, it's a way to meet with students, almost kind of like a chat, and they can collaborate and help brainstorm. You could probably do some peer review here, things like that, if you are interested in those things. But like I said, I've never actually used this. Usually if I do any kind of writing conferences with students, I use a video chat. I should also show you discussions, which I do not have here. So I will go to my Gen Lit course. I still have a lot of grading. I made way too many videos. Discussions. So click on discussions if you want to do this. So the nice thing about discussions, if like students are not able to participate at certain times due to Wi-Fi or internet availability, these are great because they allow students to kind of interact with each other and share responses to whatever you want to ask them about. You will notice that there's pinned discussions here. The only thing I've ever put under pinned discussion is introductions, so students can like revisit those things as needed. Or if there's something that I want them to see for an exam, I might put them in pinned. But usually I just create basic discussion. So again, red button in Canvas, very important. So here you'll see, again, they all kind of look the same, but topic title for the discussion, and here's your instructions. This is just what you're asking students to do. Here it's like if you have multiple sections of the course, you can share whatever section. I only have one section of Gen Lit, so I just select that. If you do have a Word document that helps them, like either maybe it's a story they read, you can attach that there. Maybe it's further instructions, whatever, you can add an attachment here. There are options, so if you ask students to reply to other students, you can like allow for threaded replies. I've set this a few times where users must post before seeing replies if you do require replies. I'll be quite frank, I don't usually do that because the replies tend to be not very good. And so I'll just say, please make a post to whatever question I have or whatever prompt. And students will just make that post, and I consider that their contribution. Sometimes students will make replies and they'll do it like because somebody's from the same town or they really agree with somebody's post or something like that. And the rest of these I don't really do, but I do usually choose it to be graded, just so to make sure that they do contribute in some way. And then of course you can set the same things here. So if you want to set a perimeter, like you only have this week to do these discussions, you can do that. But again, that's up to you and your students. And again, make sure to do the save and publish button down here. The red save button there will just save it, it won't publish it. And so you want to make sure everything you put into Canvas is published so students can access it. So if students are saying, I cannot see this assignment, you might want to check and make sure it's published. And you can also see it there. Like, so if I were to save this, there'll be a little button that shows up and it'll say publish or unpublish. And so you can publish things. Which also brings me back to modules for a minute. Just so that this is clear. So I'm just going to go back here. Go to Project 0. They've already done it. If you want to unpublish something in Canvas, there's the green here that you see are all published materials. You'll notice if I hover over it, it'll tell me unpublish, that I can unpublish something. So I just did that, right? If it's an assignment, you can also do that. So that's only if you don't want students to see something. You can also unpublish a whole module and they won't see that. So that's just some basic things about Canvas. Those will probably be the most useful things to you, I think, as you work through moving your course online. Thank you.